Welcome everybody to another episode of Beers and Bourbon with Dick and Brett. I'm Dick.
And I'm Brett.
How the fuck do you do that? I'm never ready for that.
Coming up with it.
Oh man.
I'm blowing off those 6 figures.
All right, well, welcome back. That was a hell of a welcome.
Yeah.
We're obviously excited to be back here filming. Like we shared on the end of last episode, we got an amazing lineup that we think. We got always a beer and a bourbon, but we got Dictionary Roulette from Brewery X is our beer. Ooh-wee. Whoa. Heavy hitter. We'll get into that in a second. Brett, what's our bourbon for today?
Our bourbon for today is Henry McKenna, right? So we're looking at a bottled and bond, 100 proof bourbon. Henry McKenna, single barrel, right here on the screen for you here. We are gonna bang that one out. That's in the Heaven Hill collection. And it's gonna be a good one. It's solid out there and sometimes tough to get your hands on and sometimes in limited selection. So we'll taste it for you. We'll let you know what we think about it.
Yeah, I think both of these we could probably film 3 or 4 podcasts on with how much we have to say, but I'm gonna get into the beer, man, because we've been thinking about doing this beer for a while, and I think it's important to tell them why, Brett.
Yeah, I think for us, this beer is just it's something that we find near and dear to our hearts, right? So it's a beer that has taken over our fridge, and if you've ever had a beer that takes over your fridge, it's the one that you continuously go back to, right? It's one that you're comfortable with it. It's always exciting. It's always one you want to hand out to your friends and family. It's one you want to share with people, but it's one that you want to drink yourself. Really, you have all these beers that you bring home that are new. You're trying them out. Somebody says this is good. You should try this. Grab that. Do that. And then you have your other beers, you know, that are tried and true that you've been drinking for years. And then right there in the middle is this Brewery X Dictionary Roulette just stacked up. I mean, 2, 4, 5 packs high, and you never want to run out of it.
I think we drink so much of it that, you know, in those movies from like the 80s, they had like people sliding down the stairs and they knocked out all these beers stacked up. We could do that floor to ceiling. Just a little bit about Brewery X. So Brewery X is in Anaheim, California. We're in Southern California, so we consider this a local brewery. It's only been around a couple years, and it's basically a collective of head brewers from some of the major breweries out there. They got together and they said, we're going to do our own shit. And, you know, if you think about that, taking that much talent that was leading, you know, at a Stone, a Pizza Port, some of these breweries that have been around for 25, 30 years, and then all of them getting together, being able to kind of really do what they want to do. When you're a head brewer, I imagine in a major brewery, you have kind of like your core beers you have to brew. You might get some specialty stuff you can do, but for all of these creative minds to get together on one roof, and then the best part is they built this fucking massive brewery that has an outdoor area that did really good in COVID. Most breweries, you know, couldn't figure out what to do. They built a beautiful area outside, and I think the last thing is the price point. Quality and price point to me in beer, especially in craft beer, doesn't go together very much anymore. You're paying $26, sometimes $36 a 4-pack for some of these slushy craft, you know, quintessential beers that people are trading. The cool thing about this is $11.99. Your local liquor store. If you can't get it, Bevmo's $12.99, $13.99 for a 4-pack.
Yeah, I've seen it at Trader Joe's in the area too. I've seen it. You know, definitely at a lot of the different liquor stores and stuff like that. But yeah, pretty much anywhere ranging from $11.99 to $13.99, which is a great price point for 4 really good kind of craft beers, right?
Especially since we could put down 4 a piece in a night, no problem.
Easy, yeah.
So $12, I don't feel bad crushing $12.
No.
If it's $26 to $30, I'm like, I'm gonna have one.
So at that point, sometimes you just think, why am I not crushing this beer out in like a more fun setting, you know? But sitting at home drinking beers, and if they're $4 a piece, then no big deal. But like you said, you're paying $9-10 a beer. You might as well be bellied up at some kind of really cool spot where you can try other beers and stuff as well. You don't got to drive down to pick up new beer from the liquor store. So
I agree. I think we should get into the nose, Brett.
All right.
I've already kind of started without you. Whew. So this is a single hazy India Pale Ale. And so it's going to be, your 6-7%. So it's not a double, but on the nose, I get a little bit of like orange peel, kind of like.
Yeah, there's some definite citra qualities to this one.
Yeah,
it comes right off the top. It's clean orange, like you said, maybe tangerine almost, or something like that.
Yeah. Should we get into this?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Cheers. I fucking love this beer.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you exactly what I love about it, and then I'm going to let Brett tell me where it takes him. So that's
perfect.
You're going to see us do this a lot, and if we don't, you better call us out, because this is one of my favorite things. So if we ever miss this, shame on us. But right off the bat, it's crisp. From a hazy perspective, I get those lingering citrus flavors on my tongue. So versus it being a bitterness, that's where I like recently where the hazies have gone, is it's similar in flavor profile, but you're not getting that rugged bitterness, that resin on your tongue. I'm getting more of a lasting citrus flavor. It finishes smooth. It's definitely what we would call a crushable beer, where we can sit by this guy's pool in the summer, where we're going to bring the podcast to, and I could probably knock out 12 of them. So I mean, that's what I got to say about it. But Brett, it's you, brother. Tell us where it takes you.
Yeah, absolutely. So this beer, just going off of that, I mean, this is kind of a home effort right here, but this is the beer, right, where it actually, to me, feels like home. So for me, this beer is something that, like I said, is near and dear to my heart. It's a beer that we regularly share. So this beer actually just takes me to where I'm sitting right now. I'm sitting at Dick's Bar. It's a Friday. We're playing 13, which is a card game with 4 people. We got scorecards out. We got the neighbors over. Thomas is here. Dick's here. Everybody's here. We're all just chilling and having a good time in the garage. We got music playing, and we're drinking this beer. That's where it takes me. So it's not a crazy place for this one, just because it feels like home. This beer feels like right here,
I fucking love that, man.
Yeah.
Wow. I couldn't agree more, man. Like, seriously.
I don't want to say that this takes me somewhere else, because it doesn't. Because when I think about Brewery X Dictionary Roulette, I think about Friday nights at Dick's house, man. And we're just having a good time.
I love that, man. Because those are some of our favorite times. So we built the bar for that reason. Yeah. To hang out, You mentioned a few characters.
I forgot AA Ron.
AA Ron.
Shout out to AA Ron. You're right there with us, right, for this one.
So you're going to meet a few of those characters. Thomas is one of our friends. And he'll definitely make a few appearances on the podcast.
He might just walk by the back of us and
just pop out,
grab something and then leave at some point in time.
Yeah, and then AA Ron's my dad, so we'll have him on. And then Big T.
Yeah.
Big T's going to be on here.
Big T one day, man. I'm going to coerce him to get on here. The guy's 70 plus years old, but he's got a ponytail, and he drank an entire keg of the NAR from Brewery X on his own one day.
True story.
Not really sure if I was too happy about that, because I wanted some NAR for myself, but hey, you know what? When somebody brings you into this world, they can take you out, so you give them all the NAR they want, right?
Yeah. I mean, hey, if there's anyone from Brewery X listening to this, please bring the NAR
Bring
back.
the NAR back,
Bring
man.
it back.
I need the skull with the Lokes. With the same beer inside. If you want to bring me a keg of the 2 other ones that you put out too, please do so. But until we get the regular NAR back in a keg or in some cans here, I'm going to be disappointed.
I guess I wish I knew that it was going to run out.
I would have bought so much of it.
So they say you don't know what you have until you lost it. I knew what I had, but I didn't think I was going to lose it.
I thought it was never going away.
I didn't think
it was a staple
so,
beer.
I mean, we could sit and talk about Brewery X all day. Brett, I appreciate the description, and I agree, man. It's these, like you said, the Friday night fun that we have here is near and dear to my heart. I hope they never stop. I hope we keep adding people to that list.
Yeah, I'm getting crisp orange, tangerine, lemon, lot of citrusy flavors to this beer. I've always noticed that there's always a tad bit more sediment in the dictionary roulette than most beers, especially when you get to the final last drops of the pour. So you get like a little bit of sediment in these beers, which is kind of cool. It's a neat little touch. Some people don't like that in their beer. This one, it masks all the flavors and stuff that you would get out of a bad sediment. It's just good sediment, you know. So
to me, that just means they're dumping a ton of hops in there.
Yeah.
Right? It's getting filtered, so hazy beers, there's some sort of filtration to them. They're not just these sloppy, cloudy beers that the East Coast used to do, or they called murky beers.
No.
So it's going through a filtration system, but to me, that just means they're dumping in the hops, and that's where the flavor's coming from. So I'm 100% good with it. I say we crush the end of this.
I'm ready to crush this thing. I could crush another one too, but
we might have to. So that's our beer. Again, we don't want to be. We could continue to do a whole episode on Dictionary Roulette. We love it. If you're in the local area and you have an opportunity to get it, great. If it's in your state or your local area and you're not from California, I encourage you to try it and let us know what you think, because we obviously love it. So let's get into the bourbon, Brett.
All right, let's get into it. So once again, here in front of us, Henry McKenna, 10-year age statement, bottled in bond. Heaven Hill, right? This one came out, sat on shelves for a long time. Nobody really touched it or fucked with it, if that's something that Dick would say.
I would say that.
It's 100 proof. It's bottled in bond. It's sealed. It's made exactly the way it needs to be made to be called that. Out of nowhere, it got some hype. Then it won a ton of awards.
Yeah.
Then it was flying off the shelves like crazy. You couldn't get your hands on it. And still to this day, it's now a sought after bottle, where you're finding that they're limiting one per customer in some areas where they're not getting that many allotments. Might come out a few times a year, and that's it. So it's not a whole lot to say about the history of it that we know of. If you guys have some really cool stories about this and how it came to be, please let us know. We're going to try it and give you what our tasting notes are on this one.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about it is it's Heaven Hill. You mentioned that at the beginning. And I think if you think around, like Larceny and Elijah Craig, I think are such big brands now for the Heaven Hill label that it kind of got lost. It used to be $49. I think that's what I paid for it now. I've seen it upwards into $69, $79, but I think $49, $59 is pretty common. But Brett, you mentioned something interesting. So Bottle and Bond Act. So what is that? What's the Bottle and Bond Act for everyone out there who might not know what that is?
So this is an act that came together when there was something they used to call imposter whiskeys. So they were creating whiskeys that weren't true whiskeys. They weren't American whiskeys. They weren't bourbon whiskeys. They were fakes. And this was back in the 1800s, I believe. There was a lot of people who were selling alcohol that was considered bourbon and or American whiskey that at the time was fake. And so they came up with the Bottle and Bond Act through Colonel E.H. Taylor was a big player in that one, right?
Yeah.
And so they came up with this Bottle and Bond Act to help the distilleries get tax breaks if they were able to produce bourbon that was sealed and labeled and known as bottled and bond. And that required 3 different things. So one of those things would be that it had to be at least aged for 4 years.
That's correct.
Okay, so we have 4 years. Another one of those things would be that it has to be distilled within the same season. So either the spring or fall, is that correct? So spring or fall season, it has to be included in one of those and only distilled into that one season, okay? And another thing is, what was the third one?
It's got to come from the same distillery. So
same exact distillery where it was from. So it can't be
a mixture
of different barrels. And I think that's what kind of led it to be able to be easier controlled, knowing that this whiskey was tried and true and was sealed, and that you're getting what you paid for. It also gave a tax break to the distilleries to do so. So it was an incentive win-win situation for both bourbon and whiskey drinkers throughout the nation and the distillers that were producing that bourbon for you.
It's crazy to think that, okay, that was 1897, and then Prohibition started, right? And so, 15, 20 years later? So this was federally bonded warehouses. So this is the highest quality considered at that time. The distillery had to get rated by the federal government to say it reaches the highest quality standards and it meets those minimum requirements that Brett said. And then you transform, like I said, 15, 20 years, and then we said, federal government said alcohol is illegal.
Yeah, we just took it away.
Yeah.
Prohibition.
So that's crazy. Yeah. You know, you also mentioned Colonel E.H. Taylor Jr., and as you can see behind us, that gentleman has got a near and dear spot in my heart. And it's pretty cool to think about that someone in the distillery world was that influential to get this act passed with the federal government. So, I mean, I appreciate Brett going through that. These are the things that I didn't know when I first started drinking bourbon. I didn't know what bottle and bond is.
Yeah, you have this bottle established, right? So it says Henry and McKenna, established in 1855.
Yeah.
So you're right in that era of when this was under consideration, this was in talks. This is some way that they wanted to keep this bourbon from being sold as an imposter and it getting out of control.
The thing I like about the bottle and bond at 100 proof, and we've had bourbons on the prior episodes where the thing about 100 proof is it's misleading. So 100 proof, 50% alcohol, it seems like, oh, it's gonna be real light. I find most of the bottle and bonds are pretty complex and they're kind of like curveballs. You go into it thinking, oh, it's gonna be mellow, it's not a barrel proof. We'll talk a little bit about what a barrel proof is going forward, but I find them to be really complex yet balanced. So it's kind of a unique thing that I think people underrate. So let's get into the nose.
Absolutely.
See, even the nose to me is a little hotter than 100 proof.
Yeah.
What are you getting on the nose, Brett?
Yeah, it's hot. I mean, I'm getting that, like, kind of that alcohol, like
a boozy
swab, you know, like what are those little pads that you put the rubbing alcohol on it, right? It almost has like a rubbing alcohol smell to it. Yeah. There's some other stuff that's coming through too.
Well, I just think the way I describe
some caramel right there, I think. Not necessarily toasted or anything like that, but I can smell some sweetness in there too that kind of takes over once you get right through the first initial like alcohol punch.
I agree, it's boozy off the start.
Yeah, it's boozy, but if you continue to smell into it a little deeper, there's some other qualities in there. Maybe some baking spices.
Yeah, I definitely think it's in that realm. Caramel. I hate to say cinnamon because it's not, but when I think about like a hot caramel, that's what I would consider cinnamon. Yeah. I'm getting that alcohol and I'm getting that caramel at the same time.
Whenever you say cinnamon, then I start to smell cinnamon.
Well, that's because your mind will imagine.
Yeah, it does.
That's why I hate saying it because
that's all right.
It's not like a red hot cinnamon.
No.
But I think it's a combination of both. So let's get into it.
Okay.
I immediately taste, the way I would describe it is, we talked about this, I think last episode, like that barrel, like I almost get like that oak leaf, like that tobacco and oak mixture as like my barrel flavor, where it's dry and it's what I would think of the inside of an oak barrel tastes like. Yeah,
this one's not making my tongue tingle and really not destroying my throat too bad.
It's kind of flat.
A little bit flat. I got a pretty significant Kentucky hug off that first pull. It's light, just warms up your chest and stuff like that, and makes you feel like you're getting a big hug from somebody.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
It just keeps on giving. This one was mild, but I could definitely feel that. I think that was the most impactful part of that first pour. Very well balanced, I'd say, for the most part.
Second pour, I swished it around my mouth more than just taking it down. And on my tongue, I get more of the caramel. I get a little bit of the heat. But I still, when I said flat like tobacco oak, I still get that. That is a very signature characteristic. And it's not an oak where it's like an oak bomb. It's just a very subtle.
That's the Heaven Hill touch.
Yes, I would say. And then on the end, I'm still getting that lingering, which I love the Kentucky hug. I don't think I created it, but I feel like I claimed the shit out of it. But it's still really balanced.
Yeah, it's mellow.
It's mellow. It lets you know it's there, but
definitely a good bourbon, man.
At 100 proof, I think like we said, I wasn't trying to prophesize it, but I do feel like there is characteristics that you're not expecting at 100 proof. I think, something that's, in the 55, so you're getting into the 110, 120, 130s.
Yeah.
I get that characteristic. I like the balance on the end. I do like that it's still at 100 proof, gives you a little bit of Kentucky hug, because I think that we like higher proof bourbons.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, this isn't my cup of tea bourbon. It's solid, it's good.
But I think that's why no one goes nuts over it.
Yeah,
anymore.
to me, it's run of the mill. Like, it's run of the mill better than a lot of run of the mills, So maybe on the higher side of the run of the mill bourbons for me, I'm not getting anything super crazy out of it. There's nothing that's making it instinctually be like, wow, I didn't expect that, or I'm getting what I expected.
Are you saying that this is the vanilla of the quintessential big distillery bourbons?
I mean, I love Heaven Hill, right?
Yeah.
But this one is middle of the pack for me, and I think that's where they have it. I mean, the price point speaks it on itself. It's a $50 or $60 bottle, right?
Heaven Hill has invested
I
heavily.
can't see them ever selling this bottle for $120.
I wouldn't pay it.
I wouldn't pay it either, and that's what I'm saying. So it holds to its value, and that's great. So you're getting what you pay for.
But I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate.
Okay,
though,
yeah, go right ahead, because I want to know.
Because think about it.
Yeah.
So we talked about Taylor.
Yeah.
Taylor small batch, $49.99, same price point. Now it's $79, $89, $99, $109 in a bundle.
I think there's a reason for that, Dick.
What's the reason?
I think it's better.
I agree that it's better, but it moved up in price point. This didn't move up. That's rare that happens.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm okay with that. I'm just saying there's a reason why it's not what Heaven Hill's pumping out all the time. I don't think it's a bad bourbon. I agree. It's run of the mill. I think it's a little borderline disrespectful.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to disrespect it. I'm just saying from my flavor profile, yeah. I like the bourbon. I would drink it. If somebody got me a bottle of Henry McKenna and whipped out another bottle of Maker's Mark right off the shelf, I'm picking Henry McKenna for sure, right?
And that's where
it's way more of a sipper. It's
I agree that
I'm not making cocktails with this, but I'm also not reaching for this bottle.
Well, I've had it for 2 years and we're barely down to a quarter bottle.
Yeah.
But I think we need to be honest with the people at home that are watching this that are just getting into bourbon, because you got to understand, yeah, we don't have Pappy 23 sitting on the shelf, but we also don't have fucking, Jim Beam regular label. We don't also aren't drinking a ton of Maker's Mark, which there's nothing wrong with Maker's Mark. You got to understand where you're at in the game and what you're willing to pay.
I got a bottle of Maker's Mark in my liquor cabinet right now, and it's one of those big old 1.75s from Costco, and that thing gets hammered through pretty quick. I drink it. I drink it. It takes, I hate admitting this, but it takes a couple of little cubes of ice for me.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
But it's the only way I can get through it.
I feel like you're cheating on me right now.
I feel like I am too. I mean, honestly, I don't do it that often, but if I'm feeling like when I'm indecisive, because sometimes I get indecisive and I'll stare at all the different bourbons up in my cabinet and they're all looking like they're getting creeping low.
Yeah.
And I just can't decide which one I want to drink that night, then I usually give myself about 15 seconds. And if a decision isn't made, I just grab the handle, I throw a couple ice cubes in it, I dash a giant glass of bourbon, and I just sip it down real quick.
Don't fucking say that.
Don't
you talk to me like that.
I do it. I'm not gonna lie.
This is bullshit. For all of you out there, he might not be on the next episode because
I just got cancel culture.
Done.
Is this woke nation right
No,
here?
it's not woke nation. This is real nation. This is bullshit. So, if you're a beginner bourbon,
You hurt my feelings, dude.
it's fine. You signed the NDA. Get the fuck out of here. So, if you're a beginner bourbon drinker, which Brett is not,
No.
let's clarify
No.
that. He's
Yeah.
not an expert, neither am I, but he's not a beginner. I'm cool. We've talked about this before. Few drops, let the bottle open up, barrel proof. You want to give it a little ice. Not those big, massive ice cubes where you look at this glass and it's like a quarter of bourbon in this massive ice cube and it looks full.
It's okay. So this is what happens, right? You get into bourbon, and then you tell your significant other or your friends that you like bourbon now, and then all of a sudden your birthday happens, right? And out of nowhere, you get these gifts. You get ice cube makers.
I got Weller fucking ice cube makers. I'm not using them.
That's what I'm saying. Mine aren't usable anymore at
No,
all.
but you're
I'm
lying
not using
to
these
everyone
big
right
things.
now.
I'm talking crushed ice out of my fridge, and I'm dousing it with Maker's Mark because I will not drink it as a mixer ever. I'll just drink it straight, but I can't fathom the fact that it's just kind of ugh to me. So,
all right, so I'm going to tell you my opinion on this.
that's bourbon on a budget, okay?
Either
a real budget.
drink the bourbon on a budget and deal with it. It's not going to taste as good, or don't fucking drink bourbon.
Don't ever put an ice cube in anything you see on this podcast.
No,
that's for damn
absolutely
sure.
not.
Okay.
Again, here's the disclaimer. We're going to go back to phase one.
Yeah.
If you're a beginner bourbon drinker, I'm okay with it. If you're Brett, you can't fucking do it, or you can't be on this podcast anymore. So we're going to finish this.
10-4.
Now I'm pissed off.
All right, I've successfully completed my mission today. I just wanted to get him riled up.
What an asshole. Look at it, he's babysitting it too.
Oh no! I mean, it is a dick-handed pour.
What he
for
doesn't,
sure.
what he doesn't know is I poured him a little bit more.
Yeah, he's trying to get me lit so that tomorrow at work I'm feeling mighty fine.
Maybe we're both playing games. Don't play games with my heart. So I'm gonna finish my last drink of this. Brett's gonna put his in a little sippy cup and finish it.
I think I might need to. Nah, I won't. I'll be totally fine getting this thing down.
So
it's a chuggable bourbon to me.
You know what? Here, everyone out there, here's the beautiful thing about bourbon. What we say, it might not matter to you, and that's okay. You might think that this is the best ever. You might think it's the worst ever. I want to know that. I would be interested to understand what you think of our opinions of this, what you think of it, and if you have stuff down the road that you want us to try. We have some stuff kind of built in our list that we want to tackle, but we're going to get to a point where we're going to throw it out there to everyone, and we hope that, you know, everything behind us is pretty much in play. And I think that would be fun, man.
Yeah, we could do like a, vote on next week's bourbon, and then throughout the week we can check the updates on who's voted on it. And, we'll let you guys pick the next one that we do. That'd be a fun thing to introduce. If you guys have any other ideas that you'd like to see us do on this podcast, we'd love to integrate it. I can't say that the content's going to come out amazing, but we're willing to just do it just to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So send us your comments, your likes, subscribes, your shares. Share it with your friends and family, especially anybody that's remotely interested in bourbon and or beer. Of course, we love both of them. We like to put them together. We're hardly ever drinking bourbon without beer, and we're hardly ever drinking beer without bourbon. They just go together like Dick and Brett. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. I was hoping he was going to tie that together because I agree.
Like peanut butters and jellies.
Yeah, agreed. So when Brett can finish this, we'll talk a little bit about next week.
I'm getting it all down right now. I might.
So I'm gonna kind of recap some key things that why Brett finishes his bourbon over here. So today we reviewed Dictionary Roulette, Brewery X, Single Hazy, India Pale Ale, Love that beer.
That's right. One of our favorite beers of all time.
Probably one of the tops of all time. And then we got into this Henry McKenna Heaven Hill, and I think we both agree that it's not the best bourbon ever, but I think we have different ideas and where it fits in the platform. And then here's the most important thing is we learned that Brett's a fucking sellout, and he drinks Maker's Mark on Saturday and Sunday when he's not over here. Hold on, with ice. So
I'm a little bitch.
I
mean, that's just straight up the way that it is.
Yeah,
You know?
well, I still love you, brother.
Hey.
So that's kind of a recap of today. We did also talk about the Bottle and Bond Act, 1897, 3 specific criterias driven to federal quality in imposter bourbon time.
That's right.
And I think that's crucial. The history is near and dear to my heart. That's one of the things I love, and I feel like bourbon can only be made in the United States. You can make whiskey anywhere in the world, but you know, when you talk about being American and being proud of your country, it's one of the things that's most important about bourbon to me is it's American. So
100% American. You don't find bourbon anywhere else. It's straight out from the USA.
Yep.
And we're both proud of that. And we're proud of the people that serve this country. And we're proud of everybody out there that has made our lives the way that they are today. And we're able to do this, sit down at this table. So thanks to all of you, our service members, the people that have fought for our country, the people that have died for our country, those that were lost in the wars. All of you people out there, super proud. Thank you very much for everything you've done for us.
Absolutely, couldn't have said it better. So let's get into next week. So next week, we'll give you a little update. So we have Deep Sea Decoy, which is a collab between Able Baker, which is a Vegas brewery.
Main Street down there in Old Town, Vegas.
Yeah.
Pretty cool spot. I saw some pictures of it the other day. The reason we came across this is because this is kind of a transition from the Melvin Brewery beer that we reviewed on one of our previous episodes. Crazy good beer, Huckleberry Haze. It had that huckleberry and strawberry infusion. This one's a collab with Able Baker in Vegas. So you're going Wyoming, and now you're also in Las Vegas. So pretty neat. We're gonna definitely try to get into that one and see what's going on, let you know what we think about this collab. Super dope can. I love the picture on it. It's pretty cool.
The can is badass. So it's like a scuba diver in the deep sea, and then it's one of those fish that has the little thing that lights up and it's a fucking duck on there.
Yeah,
that's the best part.
So the duck is Abel's main kind of logo. So they have a lot of different duck quality or style beers. You'll see it as double duck, duck, goose, all that kind of stuff out there. So check this out. This is definitely a cool collab that we're excited about. And then I got another one down here that we're going to get into.
What is it,
Bourbon, right?
What is it?
Okay, so there we go. We got a Gold Horse.
Shit.
That is Blanton's Gold right there. Okay, so that's the next bourbon that we're going to be tapping into. Obviously, you have your standard Blanton's bottles, which is considered a tater. We're going to talk a little bit about that once we get into this bottle next week. So that's something to learn about if you'd like. And we're excited about drinking this one.
I think we got a solid lineup. I hope everyone out there knows and believes we're bringing the heat, because I feel like we're bringing the heat week after week. We got a double IPA with grapefruit added, and we got Blanton's Gold, which at this point, this bottle was a 2020 bottle, which it was only released in the UK and in Europe, Asia. So this is a 700 milliliter bottle. Now they started releasing it in 2022 in the United States. Same with the straight from the barrel, but this one actually came from Europe. I had it shipped here. I didn't go and get it.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
But the bottle's half empty, so we've already tried it. Excited to share with you what it is. But again, we appreciate all the love. We hope that you're enjoying what we're doing. You got to give us the feedback. You got to comment there and tell us. We're gonna review all the comments. We might bring them up in future episodes and talk about them. Really interested to see the feedback from everyone out there. I'm having a fucking blast.
We're having so much fun right now. It's really good. So continue on this journey with us. We'll catch you guys next week on our next episode.
See you next week. Take it easy.